What's going on, everybody? Adam here with Cover Band Confidential. This week, I want to walk you through a church gig that I just recently wrapped up. Being a professional musician means taking lots of different kinds of gigs. And in my part of the country, worship guitar is something that is very much in demand, and it is something that I have been doing for a while now. So I figured it'd be an interesting journey for you guys to see how I prep for a gig like this, and hopefully it is informational and helpful for anybody who's interested in getting into this kind of work. So usually how this goes is I get an email sometime at the beginning of the week requesting my services at a particular church for a particular service. In this case, I was doing Buckhead Church in downtown Atlanta. Once you get that email, you confirm your availability through a service called Planning Center. Planning Center is also where you go to see what the run of the service is going to be, what songs you're going to be doing, and what key they're going to be played in. For this particular service, there were 3 songs, one of which I'd already played before, but in a different arrangement, and 2 new songs I'd never heard or played before. Now, where it gets interesting is the prep work. The song that I had played before was also a song that was recorded by the organization, so luckily I had the reference tracks from the studio sessions with the guitar kind of turned up, which gave me a better idea of how I needed to play things. Now, the other 2 songs were a different story. In most cases, song charts are not provided for these kinds of gigs, so you are on your own to figure out what it is you're supposed to be playing. For the other 2 songs, I ended up using 2 different methods. If no reference track is available to me, the first thing I check is YouTube. More than likely, there's already somebody out there who's done the hard work, isolated the guitar track, and recorded a tutorial video. I'm actually considering doing that for some of the songs that I've been working on because it took a little longer than normal to get to where I needed to go. Now, the 3rd song had recently been released and there was no resources like that available, so I had to go a step further than that. In the worship world, there is a service called multitracks.com. Multitracks.com is a website that provides stems and backing tracks for smaller churches who need the additional production to fill out their sound. They also offer a service called Rehearsal Tracks, which gives you the ability to turn certain tracks up so you can hear them better. That's what I ended up using for the 3rd song. Then it's a matter of actually shedding the songs themselves. In my case, I typically play at work because I have little pockets in the day where I can take some time and work on things. So I bring my Steinberger spirit to the office, and in between things that need to get done, I'll sit there and I'll work through songs little by little. I typically don't spend more than an hour or 2 total prepping the songs themselves. For all of the worship gigs that I do, I use my Line 6 Helix and a preset from Worship Tutorials, specifically the Archigator patch. It sounds amazing. It has exactly what I need. No need to tweak things. It's good out of the box, so that is my go-to. So after spending all that time getting the songs figured out, the sounds dialed in, it's time for the gig itself. Now, the only real downside for church gigs is the call time. For this one, it was 7 a.m. in downtown Atlanta, so that was about a 45-minute drive, which meant I had to get up a little before 6 a.m. to get there on time. Then the typical run of show is load in, do the sound check, run through the songs a couple of times, make sure that everything is dialed in the way that it's supposed to. Then we're going to go into the green room, hang out for a little bit. The rest of the production crew will come in and we'll have a production meeting before the service starts. And then we end up doing 2 services. Usually there is a production meeting in between the first service and the second service to make sure that anything that might have gone awry gets dialed in. But beyond that, that's pretty much it. There's no midweek rehearsal. It's all self-taught. You show up on the day of, you do the run through, you're done before noon, and you're home before lunch. It's a pretty solid gig and it's a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of really interesting people. This particular Sunday, I had played with a bunch of musicians I had never played before. You'd be surprised who you run into at these kinds of things. The female vocalist on this particular service was actually a top liner who's written a bunch of top 40 songs you've probably heard of. And in general, it was just a really good time and a good hang. And I would say if you're interested or passionate about this kind of work, you should absolutely check it out. If you have any other questions about my setup or my learning process, feel free to send me a message or leave a comment below. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We post videos here every single Friday, but next week we'll probably take a little bit of a break because I'm going to the beach. I hope you guys have an awesome week. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.